Say, let's start with Mrs. Shany, Sara, Mathew. She is a second generation Indian from South Indian backgrounds, particularly from Kerala. And by the age of 11, if I'm right, you started learning the dance form. And the passion level of this dance form went so high that at one stage she went to Kerala. She stayed with her guru. Now I want to make sure that I have the name right. So that was Sri M.K. Girish Kumar. She stayed with her guru over there. She followed the Guru Shishya system and learned the art form. She came here, she promoted it to second generation and also first generation people who are willing to learn this. And in that form, she has promoted the art form. So that is Mrs. Shany, Sara, Mathew for you. Now, coming to the second panelist, it's kind of turning the dynamics. Now, she grew up in a background of arts and dance and music, and then she learned this art form as any childhood days learning, so to say. So it was Sri Kalaimamani Srimati K.J. Sarasa is where you started off at the age of 5. And just like any middle class Indian family, she also continued her engineering degree. But her passion was still in the dance. Now normally when we say passion for dance, we normally see this as trying to learn more about the dance from a guru. But she took the passion to the next level by going this into an academic direction. And that too, she flew all the way to Germany. She did her master doctorate in art, in classical dance in Bharatanatyam in Tübingen University. And in fact, her work, her thesis was also an interesting one, which I felt was very thoughtful, I would say. She was researching about the evolution of Bharatanatyam dance in Indian, or was it specifically Tamil movie? Indian cinema over a particular period of time. Yeah, right? So that's the level of dedication and passion. So she's professionally in one area, but she still continues her academic endeavors in this area. And same with Shany, Sara, Mathew. She's also professionally working with the integrations department, but she still continues her passion. So it's in fact a great joy to have both of you on stage. So let's break the ice over here. And in fact, there's a lot to explain and discuss with them. So let's just start this off because as artists, right, you are here for a dance event. So my first curiosity is, how difficult is it for you to hold your temptation and not dance but sit over here and speak? I'll start with Shany maybe.
I mean, for me, it is not at all difficult. I'm all the time busy with teaching students, choreographing and taking care of them and their families and parents and so on. And I had, at this stage of my life, I'm really enjoying watching others, other artists, because I had my time where I was performing myself a lot. I think over 1,000 stages here around Germany and Europe. And yeah, as I said, at this stage of my life, I'm really enjoying watching others. And so it is not difficult at all. I can enjoy, I can relax.
Thank you. That's how an expert speaks. So, Janani.
Yeah, I think performance is brings about a very beautiful feeling for a dancer. It's a very different space, but a very beautiful space to use your mind, body and soul to communicate an idea. However, since I've also been in the research and performing arts research field for the past few years, I've grown extremely passionate about trying to understand the nuances of performing arts, what it brings from an intellectual point of view. That's also something extremely exciting for me, and today I look forward to this conversation with another passionate dancer, Shany. Yeah, so I don't think I have any regrets to not perform.
Oh, nice. That's nice to know. So let's come to this. Where did this whole inspiration for you, Janani, come into getting to the academic side of this, rather than pursuing it from a dance performance passion point of view?
When I wanted to, so the whole interest came when I did my masters in fine arts with Dr. Padma Subramanian in Chennai. That's when I started understanding the historical background of Bharatanatyam and generally the text that was so much involved in this art form that we perform today. So I wanted to do more research on this area, and then when I came to Germany, I realized that I wanted to work in this period of Renaissance, which is the 1930s, is when the art form of Bharatanatyam underwent a big renaissance or revival, let's say. So the visual remnants of that remains still in Indian cinema. When we look at the movies in the 1930s and the 40s, the remnants of that revival still remains, and that kind of excited me to look deeper into that. I think I'm generally a person who loves to also do research. That didn't stop me from performing. I was still continuing to perform. That was still there, but this passion for research came from here.
Yeah, just one question regarding that. Do you also have dancer friends who tell that you are geeking a bit more about dance when you start explaining this from an academic level, or?
I'm not sure. I don't think I had friends. No, nobody told me that. It was a very exciting space, and to be able to share that with also my friends. I think my friends were quite excited when I shared with them the research that I did.
Wonderful.
So I guess my friends were nice.
Yeah, okay. So coming to you now, Shany. So that particular inspiration or moment, so to say, for you to say that, hey, what I'm learning from here is just one level. I want to go to Kerala, I want to be there and learn this. What made you feel that particular, what was this inspiration that took you there?
I have to say, I was born and brought up in Heidelberg, and the first thing was like really movies, where I, as a German Indian child, let's say that, I was inspired by the movies. And at that time it was Shobana for sure, Suhasini, Maniratnam, all these people whom I could also meet later. It was a filmy style, of course, but that was the only access at that time, decades ago, to see at least, yeah, for a child what it is. There were not many live performances here or teachers here. So my father was in Heidelberg, president of Malayali Association, and he was, I think my parents were very culturally interested, and my father organized a Bharatanatyam group, a whole troupe from India, and this is the first time I was seeing a performance live. I was very reserved and shy, and suddenly I disappeared and I was completely with this troupe and in these vibes backstage. And I told my parents one day I really want to learn this art form, but it took 4, 5, 6 years until I could really do it. And I started with Alexandra Romanova, a prima ballerina from Russia, who learned from Yami Krishnamurti in Delhi.
Wow.
And she was actually, I have to mention her as well, my first teacher. And there I learned basics, and but we felt somehow something is missing. I think more my mother than me. And she was mentioning, let's try the next time in India when you're in summer vacation there, because I heard a famous guru is living close to my my parents, as my mother's parents, grandparents, and let's see what it is and so on. And there I had to really start from scratch. My guru saw me dancing, and then he formed me, I would say, and it was a success. And I saw that it is good for me also, and yeah, this is so the way I went then for many years.
So just curious, because you grew up in Germany and your education was also in the German system. When you get into Kerala, how easy was it for you to break that wall? Because you're learning an art form and that's part of a culture. So how easy was it for you to, change your state of mind so that you can grasp how it is? Because this is not just dance that you're learning. There's a lot of cultural nuances that you have to understand, right? So how was it for you initially?
I literally had to break it, yes, because I had, I would say, no emotions, no facial expressions. I would even not understand the Malayalam language completely, I would say, yeah. So my guru made sure, and really kudos to him, that I learn it really everything, Malayalam, the lyrics, the expressions, and he really started, because I was thinking I can learn an item and wear the Bharatanatyam costume and jewels, and that's wonderful and brilliant. I can shine, I would say, also like that. There were lots of ego first, and that was cut and broken. And he said, you are here with kids from the road, students. He's supporting a lot of people in need. There are Brahmins, there are even Muslims. We will not treat you special just because you were born and brought up in Germany. So it started from there, and then the Kalamandala musicians were also regularly there, and I learned every step. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. That's really commendable to know that journey of yours now. So let's move into the next segment of this, because the time is also a constraint, is what I feel. So apologies, but I would like to keep on talking on these topics, but let's. So the next part is evolution of dance as an art form, right? So I'll start with Janani on this, and then to Shany. So we talk about inspiration to perform for an audience. Now, a fact that we have to understand is a big percentage of your audience may not understand the dance form, right? And they are here to either understand themselves, but even though we have this evolution of time, still there is this big chunk of audience who are there in the stage, who are there in the hall, who are not grasping it. So over this growth, how do you feel? I mean, where does that inspiration come to still perform? You still have that urge to still communicate this to your audience. How does it work out for you on your mind when you do that journey?
So Indian classical dance forms, be it Bharatanatyam or anything, is a very complex art form. It brings together movement, music, rhythm, poetry, literature, mythology, philosophy, and a great part of spirituality as well. So it's a very challenging feat for a dancer to be able to bring this complexity across to the audience. Even in India, there are a few rasikas, connoisseurs of art, who are able to understand this whole complexity, but I wouldn't say the entire audience understands this. Yet, it's performed vehemently in India, and that does not stop us from performing outside of India as well. There is a boundary between the dancer and the audience, and that boundary can be made thinner and thinner using certain methods which we as dancers, I think, do. The most important thing is, as a dancer, you feel the joy to perform. When we feel the joy to perform, that is good motivation to perform, I feel. So one way is we try to communicate an idea through, we explain beforehand what the item is about, the meaning of the item, the perception that as a dancer I have while performing this item. The mudras, the head movements, neck movements, what these mean. So this gives a particular foundation for the audience to understand what I'm trying to perform. What actually I did recently also was that to bring this connect between the East and the West, when we perform here in Germany, we did a production called Blend, which brings together Indian classical dance and Western classical music. So the Western classical music is familiar to a foreign audience, but the unfamiliar part is the dance. So we tried to lessen the familiarity. This was just an experiment. We did something like this. So I think the most important thing for artists is to get on stage and enjoy that performance, and that is definitely communicated to the audience if they are there and willing to receive it.
So you told about East and West, so I think that's a good segue also to Shany is, so you having this experience of growing up in this culture, so how do you see that? How does communication for you happen with the audience?
By really explaining the meaning before a performance. I did it a lot wherever I performed, and I performed more in front, of course, Indo-German audience or German audience. So I had to explain. I had to start what is Bharatanatyam, what is Mohiniyattam, what is Kuchipudi, and pick the audience up from there, and the meaning of the items. And this is like also my experience that it really reaches the audience. But you can't do it everywhere. That is actually, as for example, I experienced in the Indian associations where the time is limited and all these things, different things, But passion and dedication makes us not giving up and working on it, because we are not doing it for the audience. We are not, at least I feel like that. The purpose of learning this art form or having learned was not for business, not for money, not for, it was really a spiritual call, and there is spirituality in this dance, and this is the first thing, and all other things which are coming, fame, and that these are positive side effects which God is gifting us. But so that makes us continuing, even though not everybody is understanding everything, but we are not giving up. It drives us, the spirituality. It's a call from God, I feel personally. And as long as I feel that for my life, I'm going, moving. This is what I can say.
Interesting. I think I've seen this in a lot of dances. To summarize, it's always an inner calling, right?
Yeah.
It starts from there, and then that is your driving force, and then the inner belief that the audience will also get onto that zone. Interesting. So let's come to another angle of the dance form and its evolution. Now we are reaching a level where the attention span has reduced of general population. Even people are more interested in short format. They call it capsule format and all. Even dancers are facing the challenges. What I feel now, you have a complicated dance can also be reduced to a reel of 1 minute, which is a changing trend. I remember as a child there was times when you have to sit overnight to watch Kathakali, right? When tourism became more relevant, they had to reduce it to 1 hour to catch that attention span. Now even today that 1 hour is too much for generations that is going. So in such a world, how do you see this evolving? So I'll start with Shany and then I'll move to Janani.
Again, dedication, call, passion. You can decide if someone calls, association calls you for a 5 minutes item, limits it, you can decide. Do I do a Ganapati Kautumam, or what can I do? Do I do it, or let's not try it at all if the audience receives or something like this. So I was always on the positive side, trying at least, maybe, checking. There are smaller pieces, but as an artist, you can't give everything within 5 minutes. It's not even a warm up for us. But we have hope, and hope is dying at the end only, and so we are going by that. And I was, for example, I have this good example in Mannheim. There were so many Bollywood dancers, and no one had an idea about classical Indian dance also. And now the school is full of these people because they are feeling the mythological aspect, the spiritual aspect, and also this dance and art form has a therapeutic aspect for the body, mind, spirit, soul, and the people, I feel, they are really feeling it, starting to feel it, what it gives them. And so this is the point of not giving up, trying, being patient. You need patience for that, and we all, I think, are trying to promote this culture and this art form, this classical art forms here in hope of. So I can only talk from my perspective.
That's a nice way of putting it. Therapeutic feeling. Yeah? Nice words. So when I move into Janani, and let me just put one more angle into this now. Pre-COVID, post-COVID, technology has actually changed the way art. Every industry is affected. So I think art is also, classical dance is also affected. You have now people who also prefer online learning and all this aspect. So what is your views on that, generally?
I think technology has changed the way we do dance forms, just like other art forms as well. I see there's three different things. One is it has changed the performing spaces. Initially it was the temples that came to the proscenium stage. We had it at the proscenium stage for many years now, but now the performance spaces are moving more personal and public spaces. It can just be anywhere. So it's moving like that. Because of one is performance spaces, the second is the content. Content is it can be music. It's become very borderless now. Music it's not just restricted to margam items. It's just anything now. And more lokadharmi in terms of makeup, costumes, and even expression of abhinaya. There was a lot of natyadharmi before, but now it's more lokadharmi, I feel. Items are skipped, even if it's a half an hour recital, so content. The third is access. The everythingness that comes with now, let's say, Bharatanatyam, because it's available in the real universe, or things like that, makes it a bit very common, bit too common, I feel, and sometimes also monotonous and mundane. Because the speciality, you can only hold the speciality if it's only performed in specific spaces and specific times. But now it's just available always, anytime, anywhere. So the speciality the uniqueness is not there. So this is how I see. I think I said all the cons of technology, but there's also been a lot of pros.
Yeah, can we hear the pros?
The pros is basically, again, access. Because during COVID times, we didn't have access to our gurus who were teaching, and then I think this was a great way to have access. Also now, the performance is being live streamed throughout the world. We have many people watching performances. We also have many dancers who never had access now come and dance. I guess we have to live with the changing times to an extent.
Yeah.
It's an ever-changing world, and then,
Let's see if we have a panel discussion like this 10 years later. Let's address the same question and see how it has evolved over time. So that was an amazing answer from your side. So let's come to the last segment of this. Now we talked about performance. We talked about learning. Let's come to the organizing part of this, right? Organizing a dance event. Now there's always this mismatch that I see. Now I've also been in a lot of backstages in different programs. There is a mismatch between organizers and performers, right? Because for an Indian classical art form, it's a lifelong learning, right? You learn this from your childhood, but when you come to different stages of performances, sometimes this lifelong learning is reduced to 10 minutes of performance. And sometimes for this 10 minutes, you have a preparation time of 4 hours, right? And you have to think from both sides. When an artist is in their space, they are completely in their art form. Sometimes organizers are thinking of the bigger picture, And there is always this mismatch that is, I personally feel, but maybe there are also understanding organizers. So I just want to understand this particular dynamics, right? Do you think this is a reality that would still be there, or are nowadays organizers more aware of the effort an artist goes through? Yeah, so let's start with Janani maybe, because we started with Shany in the previous one.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say, I don't know if I would say it as a mismatch. Let's look at the end goal. The end goal of both the organizer and the dancer is the same, right? If I would scientifically hypothesize this, it is to basically maximize the enjoyment of the people who have come that day. That is, the end goal is the same for both the organizer and the dancer. But there is a mismatch and the synergies in the preparations that go behind the event. That's what's mostly the case. Yeah, so I think that's why we have to work on to make sure the synergies are positive and try to understand both perspectives to work towards the common goal, which is basically to give enjoyment
to the audience. That's a nice one. So when I put that same question to you, Shany, you are not the only performer, you also bring your students, right? So you see it from two perspectives, right? As a performer, as a teacher, and also a third perspective would be your students and bringing them on stage. So how do you kind of see that dynamics when you come to an organizer's event?
We have good experiences, but really I think quite famous for in Mannheim and surrounding to really tell the people straightforward how we need it, and maybe it's a German way also. And I understood 4 years ago that this doesn't work like this, but whole surrounding has changed already. And when they invite us, Nisari Kalakshetra students or me or something, they are now somehow prepared, and the team is also prepared and are trying to give us longer slots. For example, I was struggling for that. There were challenges because I was telling them 5 minutes, within 5 minutes you can't do much, and for the kids it was also, for the students it was also challenging to work for us all, for all of us to find the right items. Yeah. So now they are giving us more slots. They find reasons to make it public also outside, because they have registrations forms and performance rules and so on. So they will tell, okay, according to the amount of dancers, it is possible to have longer items. Yeah, that is actually a sign for us. We have fought for it, and this is now working in the Indian associations in our surroundings. And with the Indo-German relations, like embassy and consulates, anyway, it is working for us. Also, we are explaining what we need, and if not, you can also, of course, say no, it doesn't work. That we have also started, but I am seeing a change. Yeah. But it depends if you are also transporting the messages, yeah, because and you will be not popular also in the beginning doing all these things and explaining, yeah. But I'm seeing the changes. That's all what I can see.
Understood. So amazing. It's basically a give and take. At least you have to make them clear of what the boundaries are and set it. So that's interesting to know. So. Let's come to the final part of this. Now, Chamayam is basically not just a performance stage. We also want to make the people aware of a dancer's perspective. And for the first event, we are really grateful to have both of your presence over here to share that knowledge with us. And we really appreciate your time for this, taking your time and coming and sitting over here explaining. And I thought you are holding your temptation to dance, but I understand you have crossed that phase to just come and perform. So thank you for that. And in fact, there's lots more to hear from them. In fact, before this interview, I actually had calls with them to get to understand their profile. And I was worried that I had to reduce this to 30 minutes. So for all of you, they'll be around. You can chat with them during the break, and you can get more insight about Indian classical dance form. So Once again, thank you, Shany, Sara, Mathew, and Dr. Janani, Suresh, Ram, for your
Thank
time.
you. Thank you.
Really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.